So I went to the rugby field, obviously hoping I was going to be a back coming from soccer, even though I was after putting on a good few pounds, and they put me straight in the front row as tight head. We seem to peak the year before World Cup every single time World Cup comes around. And I think you can be scrummaged as much as you want, you can get your coach as much as you want, but until you find out your own little way to do it, and right, this, I've got to go this way, this, got to do that. When you find out that, and you think, geez, I am actually pushing them forward. And it's only when I actually started bringing around and showing rugby teams and rugby players. And we sat in the car after a meeting and she just said, right, you're right, I think we have something here. And I was like, well, I'm right, fair enough. I take that, I don't care.
I think the minute I stepped on a practice field for rugby, the calling happened.
An 8-year plan to be on the team. And I was in it within 2 years.
Don't wait until you are a pro to be a pro, right?
And I walk around with a rugby ball sometimes and they're like, what is this child on?
It looks like it was a heavy hit.
It's up, it's not up.
You know, that's the first time I played like professionally.
I'm making rugby money. How can I make money outside of it?
And those two Scottish guys, and I said, "Oh, you're here for the movie."
That rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, all cultural aspects.
He looked at me and he says, "You guys are awesome."
Grow rugby, 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 grow rugby.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. My name is GiftTime Ebelu, and this is the show where we speak to people about the opportunities that they have found, created, or taken advantage of via rugby. What a week it's been. This past week, we had Rugby Town. This upcoming soon, we got the Rugby World Cup sevens in about 2 weeks. We have women's, the Rugby World Cup women's edition in about 2 months. We're kind of in this cuspus where we have like the change of the season, where 7th season is coming to its conclusion, and we're about to now push into 15s as it begins. And we got a lot happening that's going on and trying to keep up. And of course, as always, we're always trying to make sure that we are creating an environment where we can create the ecosystem around rugby. So if anything, I invite you guys to go check out our new Facebook group, the Rugbyverse. And basically, we want to be able to start developing in an area where people from within the rugby community can share their things that are built around the rugby community. That's not just simply in coaching and playing, but is things that add into making rugby a better environment for everything, and helping the development and evolution of the sport in many ways. You guys, facebook.com/ I think the Rugbyverse, something to that effect. Its group. And of course, we're always doing GiftTime productions. Of course, we are slowly beginning to start marketing for more and more teams, and we want to be able to make sure that you have that ability to be able to show yourself off. So please check out our highlight videos. Come get a chance to be able to get a custom-made highlight video from you, top quality, top of the line, making sure that the artistry and the work is getting put together into something that represents you perfectly. Definitely go to gifttimeproductions.com/highlights and go sign up for your own custom highlight video made personally. All right, make sure that it is creme de la creme, to say the least. And of course, please check out Rugby Outlet Mall. We got some new gear that's coming in, and I'm not gonna lie, I love it. It is dope gear. All right, guys, check it out. Our Icon Rugby gear is one that I'm very proud about. Taking regular corporate icons, changing it for the rugby life. My favorite one is the PayPal one, and definitely recommend checking those out. We got the Amazon one with Rugby's on, our Google and FedEx ones as well. But definitely go ahead and check those all out. RugbyOutletMall.com. Well worth it. And y'all, we have an amazing guest for you guys today. Let me just say, Danny Lambe of Golo Rugby, coming straight out of Ireland, put together this amazing product to be able to help with tackling and targeted tackling that I've gotten so many messages on people wanting to be able to understand how to do it, and especially do it without the fear. And that really helps to be able to create the repetition. He created this product with it. He's got a great story behind. We had a great conversation about his growth from playing rugby in Ireland to becoming a coach, to developing the product, and how it's effective for his family and how it's developed people within Ireland itself. So well worth it. Come check out this whole conversation. You're gonna love it. And so without further ado, Danny Lambe, Golo Rugby. Check it out.
Grow Rugby, 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 Grow Rugby.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Grow Rugby. I got a special VIP guest for us today, coming straight out of Ireland. He's coming in with his product, Golo Rugby. Y'all, this is something that you guys are going to want to pay attention to, but it's not about the product. It's about the person behind the product that brings the passion, which makes it perfectly rugby. I like that piece style. Danny Lambe. Danny, man, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Man. Danny, man, obviously, when we first connected, it's connected through LinkedIn, and you introduced me to this, and we talked about this was earlier this year, late last year. So you caught me like right at that point where I was like trying to. Actually, this was like last year. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think actually November, December time.
Yes, exactly. So it was. When I say that, it was interesting enough for me to be like, okay, let me slow down on some wedding stuff, and probably needed to also simultaneously like take a break. It was a good conversation. I loved what I was able to see on the site, and just being able to, what you talked about, like the tackle pads are dope. So to be able to have a chance to finally be able to do this conversation here, it's legitimately an honor. So again, thank you so much for taking the time.
No, thanks very much for having me. Thanks very much. As you said, I spoke to you there November, December time. You gave me a lot of information. You pointed me in the right direction. Perfect. Everything we needed back then.
Oh, man, I love it. I'm glad to be able to help. So, I always like to say when it comes to these is that every superhero has their origin story, So I'm going to ask you, Danny. Danny, how'd you get started with rugby?
Well, to be honest with you, I got started actually pretty late. I was a soccer player, and then older, and I got bigger, and I realized I'm not going to be a soccer player. So I said, right, what am I going to do? I like hurting people. I like trying to get away with it. So I said, why not join rugby?
I absolutely love and respect that thought process. Please let me utilize what this God-given gift has already given to me. I can kick the ball, but can I pound somebody while also kicking the ball? This I appreciate. Yes.
Yeah. So I went to the rugby field, obviously hoping I was going to be a back coming from soccer, even though I was after putting on a good few pounds, and they put me straight in the front row as tight head. So that was a bit of a blessing in disguise. I was, oh, Jesus, this wasn't supposed to be like this. But look, I was put in the front row, played tight head, love it. Absolutely loved it.
Oh, my goodness.
Only retired there a couple of years ago. Oh, man. It was different. It was a bit of a baptism of fire. It was like, just get in there and push. They see me, I'm like, 6 foot, 18 stone. It's just get in and push, man. You'll learn on the job. I was like, fair enough. So I learned well enough on the job. I've done okay. I represented Munster. I represented Leinster as well at levels as well, which is obviously an honour to put on a Munster jersey. You don't really put on a Munster jersey and a Leinster jersey at the same time. Like, as well in your career. So it was an honor to do both.
I was gonna say a little bit of a conflict happening right there.
Yeah, but look, as I said, I came to the sport late, and I want to get as much out as possible.
Let me ask you.
Sort of cut
Quick question. Quick question. Whenever you say late, what do you define as late? Because I feel like late US is different than late Ireland.
Okay, why in the US?
Late, I mean, I guess late in the US, typically people start playing rugby around collegiate age. So usually 18, 19, 20. That's usually about the average. Actually, a little bit older. 19, 20, 21 is about the average for most US people to start playing rugby. If not starting, like for me, I think I started. Say that again?
I was 24. I was 24.
All right. So you started relatively about the same as me. Okay. So late in the same ways. Got you. I'm right there with you. Boom. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, started late. I moved out. I moved. I was living in the town. I moved soccer in the town. I don't know. You heard played football? Have you ever heard of them sports? Irish sports?
Of like Celtic football and Gaelic football and such. You said
it's Gaelic football and hurling. Yeah, every Irishman has to play Gaelic football and hurling. So like, I was playing that. Moved to a new town. I was like, look, I'm not fast enough to be a footballer. I'm not skillful enough to be a hurler. Just play rugby. So the way of getting to know people, I just said, look, I'll just take up this rugby now. Let's see what it's about. Like,
obviously Ireland has a deeper history with it. Even though you were a soccer player, did you have already some inundation that came with rugby prior to? So obviously, at 24 you played, but was it already kind of a part of your life in terms of a spectator sport in that time, and you just were playing it, or was it just like separate? Okay.
No, it's massive. Like in Munster, like if you're into rugby, you're into Munster. You live and breathe. Like you go to the games. Like Munster is it's mental over here. Especially it's a passion. It's like life. Munster is life over here. Like it's everything. It's game days. Like Thomond Park. You go to Thomond Park on a European Championship game. It's amazing. Like the hairs are literally on the back of your head from the moment you get in there till you leave. Like it's not a big stadium. Like I've seen the stadiums you have in the USA. You're talking 80, 90,000 people in the USA. Crazy, massive. Like Thomond Park, maybe I think it's 25,000 people, but it sounds like there's 100. It sounds like there's 125,000 people in there. It's crazy, like, and you're on top of the pitch. You're just on top of the players. Like you can hear every hit. You can feel every time that someone gets hit. You're going, oh Jesus, I can see, I can hear it. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy. It's brilliant.
Oh, dude, obviously, I love that.
Obviously, the few beers in the stands helps as well. It's great. You can have your beers out.
Adds a little spice to it.
It's like a party atmosphere there. Like there's always live music on before it. Outside, you have the pubs outside. The whole of Limerick City just turns red for Munster on the day. It's brilliant.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's always funny because I didn't really. I've experienced a lot of rugby in my time, but obviously most of it has been very U.S. centric in terms of even in the international level. And it wasn't, albeit this wasn't Ireland, but it wasn't until I did the Rugby World Cup a couple of years for the 2019 year, and we ended up going to Australia, Wales. I know, once again, not the same Ireland, but it was the energy. Like for a typically U.S. versus whoever game, like there's an energy. Even like when we did U.S. versus New Zealand way back in like 2014, there was an energy, but it didn't have that like where it shakes the soul. You know what I'm talking about? Like where you feel like the vibration of the air and you're like, oh, there is a moment about to happen here. And throughout the game, that moment is consistently there. And you just feel it. I felt it for football games, LSU games particularly, but hadn't felt it for a rugby game until I went to that. And I was like, okay, I get this. This makes all the more sense to me as to not to why people like it, but to how real it actually is when you're playing at a tier 1 level, you know?
I went to the 2015 World Cup, Ireland against France in the Millennium Stadium. It was the best day in rugby ever. They had the roof closed. Like, I don't know, can you remember the match? Ireland.
I remember the match vaguely.
France. It was Paul O'Connell's last week. He got injured. Paul O'Connell got injured. His hamstring got torn from the bone. I think 2 other people got injured. So I can't remember. Was it Sean O'Brien and I can't remember who it was, but I remember it was Paul because I was at Paul's last game, and it was everything was done. Every sound was multiplied by like you couldn't go there and was. So I had to spend 3 days in the back of a transit van. That's where I slept for 3 days because all the hotels were packed. The city was on lockdown, and it was amazing. We all got the ferry over from Ireland. The crack on the ferry on the way over, the crack on the ferry on the way back. It was best weekend ever. But that's when you realize, we're the best fans in the world. Irish fans are the best fans in the world.
I can see it. I can believe it. Especially now that you guys hit that number 1 spot finally for the first time in a long time. Or if not ever. When's the last time Ireland was like consistently number 1 for consecutive weeks now? This would be the first time, correct?
Yeah. First time we ever beat the All Blacks in New Zealand.
Yep.
Things are going, but the only thing I'm worried about with that is we seem to peak the year before a World Cup every single time the World Cup's come around. We always go very well the year before. Then other teams seem to study us, realize what we do, and it just bottoms out every single time we go to a World Cup. It just doesn't seem to work for some reason. To be honest with you, I don't know what reason it is. I think either the other teams see our tactics. Like, obviously, before the last World Cup, Joe Schmidt brought in a lot of kicking. Like, kicking, great. He played percentages. But the opposition just dropped 2 more wingers back, kicked it to them, and they could just attack the whole time. Like, I don't know. I think to be honest with you, the way Farrell has them playing, there's so many options. Yeah. Like, I don't think teams can stop us. At the moment, anyway. Obviously, look, there's coaches way better than me out there defensive coaches who will find a way to stop it. And obviously, they'll look to attack the Irish scrum. I know everyone's saying Furlong is one of the best Tadhg Furlong is one of the best in the world at the moment. He is, but he seems to have come under pressure a lot from the last couple of games. Look, I just think the way he has him playing at the moment, if we have a good Six Nations, then I'd be pretty confident in the World Cup. At least getting to a semi anyway, hopefully. Obviously, we have South Africa and Scotland in our group, so it's a hard group to get out of. It depends which way, if we lose to either South Africa or Scotland, who we get. We could have the All Blacks in the quarters, hopefully trying to avoid them. Like, in all honesty, the way the All Blacks are at the moment, it's not good. They will get their arses in gear and they'll get themselves sorted, and they'll be peaking next year. And obviously, in France.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because the biggest thing, whenever you spoke about, like, especially the peakness that comes right before the Rugby World Cup, obviously we saw that with the All Blacks from 1987 up until 2015, basically still having that same thing. Number 1 in the world, always peaking right before Rugby World Cup, and then when it mattered most, it faltered down. I think the difference that comes with this one is for you guys with Ireland. I think 2014 going to the 2015 year, I think this was the first, you guys were almost kind of in a comeback, because I don't feel like Ireland was as strong as this until they beat the All Blacks in 2016 in Chicago. I feel like that was a pinnacle moment, and that was where it was like, okay, what you guys have been doing with your academies had been slowly sustaining. I don't know what you guys changed in it, but whatever happened between 2010 to 2014, you guys like brought in a slew of like young, speedy players and somehow just you guys have been working that up. And 2016 was like the first hit, and then all of a sudden it's just been steady increasing. Even 2019, I would think, is more of a result of the shock value of how much you guys had been able to improve. And this run now, I think you guys have a sustainable, an actual sustainable, a consistent attack. France being obviously your biggest, rival, in my opinion, right now. France being it just because of the level of athleticism that team has. But you guys still beat them, so.
Yeah, look, France have it all. They got amazing backs and they have monsters up front.
It's the question of can they hold it strong whenever it comes down the line? Like it always is when it matters most, can they maintain that?
Yeah, but you also know, you've watched enough rugby. If you get at France early, especially in France, and things aren't going their way, and the French crowd get on their back, all of a sudden anything can happen.
Exactly. That's the follow through that I say always happens with France. It's the one reason why I never really trust France to take it over the top, because, as you said, they're almost consistently one of the most talented teams in the world. Almost consistently, every position has a top player, or at least a dynamic player that can make plays. But it's a mental thing that always seems to happen with France. Always mental, and where falters. That's why even with the Six Nations, I wasn't really strong on like where France winning, because I was always like, okay, when are you guys going to falter when it matters? They didn't do it so much in the totality.
Yeah.
I guess they kind of, but it was still like I'm always suspect on what happened whenever the breakdown occurs. What happens whenever you guys are not able to.
But to be honest with you, I think that the biggest advantage Ireland has is that the IRFU employ the players, not the clubs. So it's the IRFU that are paying the guys' wages, whereas in France, the clubs try to get as much flesh as they can, and basically the international team, well, it used to be a bit of a hindrance on the clubs, because they were taking their players. The top 14 was still going on while the Six Nations was going on. Same in England. Right. So like I think the IRFU actually look after their players better. They get a lot more downtime. They get treated better than they would do if they were over in France. Now, obviously, they go to France, you get way more money. It's better if you have a shorter career. But if you want longevity, you want to be looked after better, and you're Irish, stick in Ireland.
So kind of speaking into the support of players, obviously having played a professional level, first I want to ask you, whenever you started playing, what was that first feeling? When was the moment that you were like, I think I understand this game? Because to be able to put on the Leicester and the Munster jersey, like that means you were playing, you were playing. For you, when was that moment where it clicked for you? Because it differs obviously from being a spectator and then analyzing it and then being on the pitch. When was it that you were just like, all right, I get this game, I can do this?
Probably when I packed down in my scrum and I wasn't getting pushed backwards for the first time. I was like, you know what, I'm not a scrum. We were starting forward, and I was like, okay, like I can scrummage. Like the rest of the game, I found okay, I adapted to pretty quickly, but just tight head, and they call it the dark arts, don't they, in the front of the scrum? Like,
right.
Like I had so much coaching at scrummaging, like people trying to tell me do this, do that. And I think you can be scrummaged as much as you want. You can be coached as much as you want, but until you find out your own little way to do it, and right, this, I've got to go this way, I just got to do that. When you find out that, and you think, geez, I am actually pushing them forward, this is working. It's like, yeah, it's good. As you know, props are hard to come by, especially props who can win scrums. As you've seen from the last World Cup, the South Africa won the World Cup because they absolutely destroyed England. So you can't get props. Like, you just, good props, especially around Ireland, hard to come by. So I suppose if I was played any other position, I wouldn't have been anywhere near the jerseys that I wore. But luckily I got good coaching, and I just took to it. So I was happy. It's good.
That's legit. And from that point, do you feel like, you know, you're seeing how it is in the coaching, especially coming in at 24? You know, you're seeing the coaching, you're seeing how the structure is. As your career progressed, what were some of the things that you felt like also not so much added to the skills, because you kind of spoke on it, but was missing in the instruction of being able to win those scrums? Why it's so much more difficult to be able to find those, you know, those tight heads, find those props that can make that immediate impact so difficult? Like, what were you seeing that maybe was like, okay, this coach told me this, but on average, people were saying this kind of this instruction, it doesn't work the same?
Yeah, look, it's I've had really, really good coaches, scrum coaches, and everyone sort of says the same stuff. It's all the same. Your knees as close to the ground as possible. Keep your back straight. A good, strong, steady sternum. It's like keep looking up in the air. Win the fight. Win the space. Get in there quick. Like it's everything is the same. It's just, can you do it? And it's having the confidence to do it. And it's just like I was talking. I have a young coming up there now. He's 14. He's about the same size as me already. He just wants to be a prop. All he wants to do. And I just say to him, it's the exact same in a scrum as it is for a kicker. You see a kicker, he puts the ball in the exact same position. He takes the exact same steps. He does the exact same routine. And if you do that in a scrum, and you do that, get your routine right, get everything right, then it's going to, like, as you say, a good kicker, 9 times out of 10, he'll kick the ball over the back. A good prop, 9 times out of 10, he'll win his scrum. If you can win your scrum, that's fine. That's your job done. Like, you're a prop. I'm not expected to run 100 meters in 10 seconds. I'm expected to win my scrum. That's all they want me to do. So if I win my scrum, I'm happy.
You've done your work. You've done your job.
Obviously, you got to make your tackles, and you got to hit your rucks, and you got to lift in the line out, and you got to be in the line, be in aggressive line. You got to do that. I can come off after losing, and I've spoke to other props. We could come off our pitch after losing and be happy enough with ourselves because we've won our scrums, and we might dominate the other team in scrums. We can give out to the backs because they conceded or whatever it is, but your scrums, win your scrums.
Dude, I love that. I love that. So let me ask, so what was the point where it took you from you're playing these professional levels, you've been playing rugby, and you moved into the entrepreneurship range? Like, what was the transition like for you in this?
I'm a rugby schools coach in high school over here in Ireland. So I'm teaching in the school the whole time. So obviously with COVID, the rugby stopped. So I was like, I have 2 kids, one's 14, one's 16. Obviously during COVID, we couldn't do much else. We'd be throwing the ball around the back. The 2 young lads, obviously 2 teenagers, be killing each other the whole time, tackling and all that. So I was just like, when they were tackling, I was just saying, lads, just go low in the tackle. Like, obviously trying to get in some good points on the off season, trying to get things right. I just kept saying, lads, you got to tackle lower. You got to tackle lower. We had traditional tackle pads, but the traditional tackle pad doesn't actually. It's not realistic enough. Look, it's great. It does its job. The pad holder can hold the pad. Everything's fine. The ball carrier can run into it, but it doesn't actually show you where to hit. And it hasn't actually changed. The game of rugby over the last 10 years anyway has changed drastically. Like, you cannot hit above the shoulder anymore. You can't go anywhere near the head. When you're tackling, the best place to tackle is around the waist. Like, it's the most, between the knee and the waist is the most expensive. It's the most like
the vulnerable spot to be able to hit. Yeah.
Like, it's the best place to tackle. So I was like, surely there's something on the market that I can use even when I go back into the schools coaching that will get kids to tackle around the waist, to get them to tackle better. So I scoured the internet for about a week and I couldn't find anything. And I was like, there must be something. And I was like, no, there's nothing. So I just said, right, I'll try and design something that will make kids, not just kids, but make rugby players tackle in the correct position. So
now, quick question. Wait, quick question before you continue. Is to say even make, is entrepreneurship a factor in your family? Is this something that you actually had, or is it just kind of just, again, just curiosity and like, make something do?
I've never, ever done anything like this. My father's a painter, like like an artist. He's a painter decorator. My mother is a beautician. Like there was no entrepreneurship in my family. Trust me. Anyone who's seen this product and anyone's seen me and anyone who knows me, they all say the same thing. How did you come up with this? I was like, I don't know. So like, I just came up with it.
Oh, it was like this. It was just ordained to me. All right. I don't create the idea. I just execute upon it. You know, I like that.
I could pretend that I'm a genius. I'm not. Trust me. I've been hit in the head too many times to say I'm a genius. Like if you ask my wife, I forget everything I'm supposed to do. My head is in bit, but I just somehow came up with this.
Look, it's from the most it's the points wherever you don't realize it'll come is where the greatest ideas go from. It's like look, it's obvious. I don't know why it hasn't been done, but whenever you realize, it's like, oh, okay, let's put it together, and you get into great products like this. So like with, you know, the focus has been on day hitting, and I love that you spoke on day hitting, because I've talked to a couple of kids who you know, there's the innate fear, you know, that goes with it. Like they love playing the game and et cetera like that, but that fear of like where to hit, because if you go too low, knocked in the head and the knee. Go too high, you get either stiff armed or you get thrown off, you know, especially if you don't have the weight to be able to maneuver it. And so like people obviously like that shoulder to the top of the thigh, being able to get the back of the leg and drive down, that's the ideal spot. But if you're not able to like practice doing it correctly, all you just feel like is you're either going to like pull up at the last second, or you're going to do the, you know, step to the side and hope to like slow them down kind of thing. So for you, like whatever you're focusing in on creating this, was it off of something that it, obviously you had your experience with it, but was it something that you were just like, okay, this will create the target because you knew how you felt like whenever you would go for the tackle and targeting? Or is it just like, I want to protect this area and just go from there?
Look, it's I coach my son. My son's been playing. My oldest son has been playing since he's been 4. So I've coached him the whole way up from 4s. He's under 17s now. Then my second son came up. I've coached him the whole way up. Then I've obviously coached every day in school. And it's the same thing in the same training sessions, especially from the young age. Like obviously 4, 5, 6 don't tackle. But when you get to 7, 8, 9, there's nothing there to teach a young lad where to hit and how to do it safely. So that was in the back of my mind the whole time. Even in schools every day, I'm coaching under 16s in schools every day. And it's still every day I have to say, when we're doing tackling, it's Golo, look at the waist, look at your target, look through your hands, visualize, like look, get your feet right. So I was like, instead of just telling people, oh, you should hit here, hit there, I decided, look, let's put something on the ball carrier to give them the target to hit. So I don't have to say, go low, hit here, hit there. All I have to say to them is hit the target. Just hit the target. I tell them to get their head in the right position first, because even if you do hit the target the wrong way, which you put the head across the body, or you just with a flailing arm, if you're not doing with your shoulder, if you're not getting your body right, if you're not getting the body in the proper position, if you're not getting low enough, if you're not driving through the tackle. So at least if I give them the points, and then I can say, just hit the target. That's all you got to do.
Right.
It's in their mind. It's in their mind. Just hit the target. Just hit the target. Just hit the target. Then when you're playing matches, take off the pads. In their head, they're saying, all I got to do is hit the target. Just hit the target. So it's just, I think it's just a way of making it easier on players.
And I think that makes it, because it's the practice of, obviously the practice to get used to it, but also the practice of how to position your body to get used to how it feels to to position the body, not just solely doing it, but that feeling where it's like natural. Because I know, especially in, you know, when you're with the early days of playing, you know, you feel like you're getting as low as you can, and it's not as low. It could be at the stomach, it's still at the chest, and it's a very unnatural feeling. So to be able to know what exactly it is you're targeting, and to make sure that your back isn't going down, you know, it isn't sloping down versus trying to go straight in to that position. You need to have the feel as much as you need to have the practice to actually wrap it through. Did you see like a monumental improvement with your son's tackling once you utilized it?
Well, to be honest, yeah. Look, to be honest with you, son's not a bad tackler anyway. But I've sold it. I
like that hype up for your son.
Yeah, I'll give him that. He's not a bad tackler. Yeah, look, I'm not going to put myself down. I'll talk him well. It's okay. But no, look, he's not a bad tackler, so I'll give him that. Yeah. But the clubs, I've sold it. I've sold a lot of these already. Over here, there's a lot of clubs using them, and just say like one club would say, I'll get 15 for the under 12s, and that's fine. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, another coach is seeing what the under 12s are doing. I want 15 for the under 14s, and it's snowballing like that. And a lot of clubs. One club came up to me, and I met them, I'd say about 3 months after I sold them. I think I sold 60 to the club or something like that, and it was straight away, Danny, the improvement these have made to us as a youth tackling club is immense. And I said, brilliant. I use them every day. He said, Danny, we used them at the start for about a couple of months. Then everyone's mindset was right. The height of our tackle completion jumped massively. If it stops tackling, just say we had a bad training session or a bad match, we put the pads back on to get them focused. So they're seeing the benefits of these straight away. Like the benefits are huge, and it's something simple because you don't have to be a brilliant coach to use these. All you have to do is put them on as a coach, put them on the players, and say, hit the target. So you don't have to be Joe Smith. You don't have to be like Eddie Jones. Just put these on your players, on these youngsters. These are being used at professional clubs over here as well. Like, so it's not just for kids, it's for adults as well. And it's just muscle memory, brain memory, hit here, hit there. And for players and for coaches, it's just put the pads on and hit the pads, hit the target. It's as simple as that.
Let me ask this. Whenever the coaches put it on, right? Because, you know, it's one thing with the hand pads. Obviously, you're set to brace yourself against the impact, and the pad absorbs the energy, obviously, but allows the player to feel the hit. Whenever you put on the Golo pads, you know, they're actually strapped on to the legs themselves. How does the impact? How does the effects of the hit impact well, let's call them a practice dummy in this situation? How does it impact the person who puts it on? Like, does it create a resistance against them as well, or is it just simply, you know, it gives obviously the target for the tackler, but the person wearing them, do they still feel the impact? How did it feel like whenever you were utilizing it, or are you seeing the other coaches?
It's like wearing a pair of shorts. It's no different. There's a strap around each leg and a strap around your waist. So the wearer, it doesn't affect the wearer whatsoever. If you go to my website and you see my son wearing them, he's running full tilt, he's stepping, he's moving. So it has no impact on the player who's wearing them whatsoever. Obviously, when you get hit, it only, like, they're literally, I'd say about 5 centimeters thick. I'm just looking at the padding on the legs here. The foam is it's high density impact foam. It's designed to take hits. It's about 5 centimeters on the front of your legs, and it's about 2 to 3 centimeters thick on the side of your legs. So it does take the initial hit. But look, if you're getting hit, it's not taking all of it. It's not taking. You're still going to feel it. You're going to feel everything else, just a small bit less.
No, that's legit. That's legit. What was the testing process for you? So, like, What was the first product like versus what it is now for you? What was that transition like? I should have asked this earlier, but we do things informally here.
it was what I contacted a foam company in Ireland and I got them to send me a block of foam, and I just started shaving pieces of the foam with some duct tape, getting my kids standing still, my wife standing still, and just getting duct taping pads around their legs, around their waists, seeing what they can still move with, seeing the best how to make the angles work so they can run, the best way the foam should be, where the foam should be. It was about a week of that. It was a week of my wife saying, I'm mad, I'm gone crazy, I need to get back to coaching, I need to get back to work. It was my kids telling me, we have to just go away and leave me alone. A week of that. But at the end then I contacted a friend of mine who does computer designs, because I know nothing about computers. I'm surprised I actually managed to open this podcast. So he was trying to contact someone who could do that. So I got a friend of a friend, drew these up on the computer for me. I told him what sort of logo I wanted, what design I wanted on it.
Nice.
He gave me the design, and then another friend who's involved in manufacturing, he got one made up over in Pakistan and got sent to me, a prototype. And we went through it, and it was like we adjusted the straps, we adjusted just a bit of the foam thickness, everything, just to make it more just a bit easier on the legs so you can't feel it, but it still makes it safe to wear and to hit and as visible as possible.
I love that. I love that. I look, you want that good, like, it reminds me of that good, like, Rocky story where it's just raw. You just get the rawest version, but you get the idea and you involve everybody into it, because this is why you have a family. All right. This is why you have a family, for these exact moments.
Yeah. Look, and it was just like, I said, look, I said to my wife, I think I have something here. I think I have. And she was getting just annoyed with me at this stage. She was like, I don't think so. Look, if this was good, it's so simple, it'll be done already. And I was like, no, it's not done. It's not done. And she was like, well, I don't think it's good. I was like, right, fair enough. And it's only when I actually started bringing it around and showing rugby teams and rugby players. And we sat in the car after a meeting, and she just said, right, you're right. I think we have something here. And I was like, well, I'm right. Fair enough. Yeah, I take that. I don't care.
It's like, I got one. Yeah. Let this be remembered for life.
Yeah, I'm with my wife 20 years, and that was the only time she ever said it. So I said, look, I'll take it. Even if this tackle pad thing doesn't work, I'll take being right for once.
Absolutely. Enjoy. We take those wins. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love it. So what's the final product like? What exactly is it all, if you don't mind, like what's it made of and exactly how it reacts to the body, et cetera, like that?
Yeah, so it's made of conjura, which is the same thing that they make the army pants out of. So it's waterproof. It's made to last. It's got Velcro straps on, so they're adjustable. It's got the high density foam. It's got foam on the waist. So this is it here. So It's got the targets on. It's got the where are we? See, I told you I'm no good at this camera thing. It's got the nice thick.
I'm seeing it.
We got you. Yeah, you can see it. It's that. I turn it around. And it's got 3 adjustable straps on the back.
Nice.
Yeah, look, that's good enough. Go to my website and see it better. That's why I've designed
it. Oh no, I love it. Look, Gabe, we're seeing it's a real thing. So it's more than just what the website. It's like, look, I see it in reality. Well, for those that are actually watching. Yeah. For everyone else who's listening, go to the website, which we'll give you later on. But it's you take it for what it is. But that's dope. Like it comes in and it seems like it's very simple. You just go ahead and utilize it almost right away.
Look, it comes in 4 different sizes. It comes from minis. It's minis, kids, youths, and adults. So it fits everyone. Look, you can wear it. You can, as you said, you just put it on 3 straps, one around the waist, one around each leg, and you just tell the kids just to hit the target. It's as simple as that.
Nice, man. I love that. I love that. You know, kind of has come into a conclusion. Like, you know, what is it that you are hoping to see as this movement that you're creating increases? What is it that you are envisioning to happen, and what is it that what is it that you want to continue to see happening with Golo?
Oh, look, as I said, look, you obviously notice, you all know, I'm no good at this stuff. Okay, so all I want to do.
This has been amazing, by the way.
Well, I'm good at talking, but I'm no good at marketing. I'm no good at sending emails. I'm no good at like any stuff like that. But you put me in a room with someone, I will talk about Golo all day, and I'll show them the benefits of Golo. I show them why the club needs to have Golo. My dream would be to get this worldwide. Like I'm selling them in Ireland, no problem. But like, obviously, as I spoke to you about this last year, I think these would be good in the USA. Like the USA, NFL tackling is totally different to rugby tackling. And I just think that like any club in the USA who wants to get their players tackling properly, just get a Golo. It's as simple as that. I'm like, not just the USA, obviously in England, any club who wants to just make it a bit safer on the kids, who wants to get the kids a bit more confident tackling, who wants to have little Jimmy's mother drive in and go, what's that on Jimmy's legs? Oh, it's Golo. What is that? It's a device that helps kids tackle safer, more accurately. All right, obviously the kids are obviously the club wants to make it a bit safer. I'm happy for little Jimmy to play here. Like, it's just a tackle aid to make the game a bit safer for everyone.
Nice. I love that. And where can people find the Golo stuff?
Okay, so if you go to my website, www.golorugby.com, all the information's on there.
Nice. Any social media sites, anything like that?
Yeah, Facebook, Golo Rugby, Instagram, Golo Rugby, Twitter. I'm in charge of Twitter. Don't bother going near it because I don't have a clue.
Scrooge, don't worry about that Twitter stuff. Don't worry about the Twitter. Go to this.
I'm on Twitter. I keep getting notifications, but like I can't understand the yoke. So I'm like, just go to Instagram, go to Facebook. I don't know. It's grand, like, but this Twitter thing, I can't handle it. I'm trying. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm probably trying to delete my Twitter account because I just can't handle it. I'm getting notifications the whole time.
Oh, I love it. Man, Danny, dude, I love this. I would like you to not keep underestimating your marketing. Look, the first thing is marketing. Can you communicate? You communicate. Now we just got to work on your distribution. We're just working on how to get it out even more and more. But your marketing is on par. Clearly, it's working, and obviously, you have a great product and an awesome story along with it, man. And like I said, I'm really happy to finally have been able to do this and get a chance to be able to talk. You know, that's not over the phone.
Yeah. Thanks for having. Just another thing, if there is any distributor out there listening, I would love you to contact me. I just any distributor who can see the benefit of these, who wants to bring them into the US, who wants to bring them anywhere, just contact me and we'll have a chat. Anyone who can help, anyone who can do anything, just might just be sitting there and go thinking, right, I can help this old Egypt out. He doesn't have a clue what he's doing. I'll give this lad a little help. I'd be happy. Like anyone that just rings me up and says I might be able to do something for you, just contact me.
No, I love it. And the best way to contact you is through the website or through social media or what?
Yeah, through the website or info@golorugby.com.
Perfect. Danny, man, thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. My first one. I'm not an old podcast virgin anymore. I'll have to start listening to podcasts now. Happy.
Pop the chair. Break the podcast chair.
It's from me. Happy.
Danny, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to jump on here. And guys, please take a moment to go check out some of our other stuff. We got some great conversations. Last week we had Takunda Rusiki of Howard Rugby Women. Before we had Kasechi Chiringanji of Kiro Sports, rugby marketer, and we had such a long list of people, over 60 episodes to look and more to come. I hope you guys get a chance to just like really delve into it. And also, by all means, when it's all said and done, you guys are listening, you're going on your day-to-day, I tell you, please, 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 don't forget that I hope that you're happy, that I hope that you're healthy, and most importantly, I hope that you know that you're highly favored. Until next time, cheers.